stormy afternoon. Thunder cracks, lightning blows. Does lightning doesn't blow. The wind blows.
Oh, yes. The lightning
lights. And it's the Rage Slick Podcast.
Yay!
Here at Rage Slick. I'm Jeff.
Man,
Man, we got a real banger of a week. I've tried as hard as I can to make sure that we don't have to do fucking double overtime this week, but
speed round of like, let's go. This is the news. Just like speed through it.
I mean, but no matter how many times I say that, that's kind of always what happens. So
I know, Jeff. I know.
But normally I would try to have a little preamble here where we just blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. But I've got a story.
Oh yeah.
This week, it's a story about watching a movie. So because it's not like anybody's going outside and doing anything. Also, nobody invites me.
Whoa.
But I would go if anybody did invite me. So
yelling at me right now?
No.
I haven't gone out and done anything.
No. I know who listens to this podcast. I know you motherfuckers who listen to this podcast.
Where's my invite?
All right. Last week, you will know this. I think the story will actually be really interesting to you. Last week, there was a new Patrick Willems video.
Yes.
Where he talked about this movie called RRR.
Yes, I've been dying to watch it.
This Bollywood fucking nutso action movie. And it got me thinking about how, I watch a lot of Japanese stuff. I've watched a lot of European stuff. I've definitely, I watched American stuff. I've seen, kind of stuff from all over. I've always never really been a big Bollywood guy. And I think that most of it is because most Bollywood, as near as I can tell, was very drama romance focused,
right?
Very relationship focused. I wasn't aware that over the last 10 years that there's become this Fast and the Furious fucking hardcore action thing, but also with a bunch of musical numbers and dancing in it.
Hell yeah!
So RRR is coming to Netflix in a bit. But I went online and I started looking around. I was like, maybe I should just, I watch all my shows on Friday. I got a few hours to spare. Maybe I'll go watch a Bollywood movie and see what's going on.
Yeah.
So I looked up a bunch of movies. And there was this action one, and here's this one, and this one's a historical drama.
Yeah.
I started watching the beginning of that one that was the one that the guy that did the RRR did, the two-parter. Those are both on Netflix. And so I started watching the beginning of the first one, and it was a little over the top for what I was looking for that day.
Yeah.
But a little while before that, I was just on Netflix, looking at the new movies because, it's impossible to find out what's new on Netflix. When you're scrolling on Netflix, it'll show you the little preview of the movie.
Yeah.
And I saw a preview, and it was this India movie, and it was this very cute scene of this woman on a balcony, and there's this guy down on the street. They're kind of flirting, but they're just kind of flirting with hand signals. And then at one point they're playing cards, where she's tossing the cards down to the street. And I was like, oh, and it was called. I got to make sure that I look this up because this is a whole thing. Gangubai Kathewadi. I apologize if I've mispronounced that. So this was not an action movie, but the description of it was this is a movie about a woman that was sold into prostitution and then became a mob boss.
Holy shit.
And I was like,
whoa, that's dark. That was a darker turn than I thought.
Okay. But that little thing had me interested. So I started watching that other movie, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go watch this other movie. I looked at that thing. Netflix finally did its job. I finally saw 12 seconds of a movie and was like,
all right, yeah, I'll watch it. Yeah.
So I ended up watching this movie, and it was very interesting. It was very strange. The main character, who is the name of the movie, Gangubai, is played by this woman, Alia Bhatt. And she was just mesmerizing in her performance.
Yeah.
As this character, as this woman who was sold into a red light district, a brothel, and then she ends up kind of taking over and running a lot of the place over the course of a lot of different stuff. And then I was doing some searches online to figure out more about this movie, and I found out that this is a historical this was a real person.
Holy shit.
And that she actually was a real person who did all of this stuff where she was apparently she was sold into prostitution, and then she ended up basically taking over and doing all this stuff where she like if there were young women that were sold into the brothels and they didn't want to be there, she would like work hard to try to get them out and get them back to their villages. And she like did a lot of work about like there was this kind of religious movement to try to shut down the red light district that she kind of like took it all the way to the prime minister and this political movement. She ran for like local, I don't know, some kind of like district office of this area. And so all of the facts of this apparently are taken from this book called like the Crime Queens of India or Crime Lords of India or something like that. And but then the movie itself is like this completely dramatic, over the top kind of thing. So I found that out. Then I found out that the family of the actual woman is like suing this director because they, one, are like, our grandma was never an actual prostitute. Like, and you never asked us about that. And then like, she also hooks up, kind of like not hooks up with, but kind of has a relationship with this kind of gangster character. And she's the way that this actress portrays her, she's very like kind of vampy and kind of flirty and like very kind of girl boss. And then I think the family was like, well, she was actually much more conservative than that. And so we kind of object to this kind of over the top representation of our grandma. So the whole thing was a whole fucking thing. There's also kind of like, I'm not entirely sure. There was a second thing where there's like a character in here as part of the political subplot that is like I think a transgender character that's being played by like a straight Indian actor, like a male Indian actor. And there was some kind of outcry in that. I don't know if the actual character that was being represented was actually trans or what this also led me down a whole Wikipedia hole about prostitution in India and how it works and et cetera, et cetera. So it was a whole fucking thing that just kind of ate up one day of my week. And like, if you have Netflix,
I'm like, well,
it's kind of interesting.
It looks good. Honestly, like you have the trailer playing and it looks really interesting.
There's some kind of implied sexual violence very early, but nothing explicit.
I mean, it has to be expected in a sold into prostitution movie.
Right. And it's got like 3 big musical numbers, but they're not like, they're more just kind of like there is a song playing while people are dancing. It's less, I think, integrated directly into the plot. Like it definitely happens because it's an Indian movie and apparently it just has to be in every Indian movie. It's like a
standard,
but it's real weird. And it's on Netflix. So, I also found out there's a bunch of Bollywood movies on Amazon Prime that are, like there was another one called War that I kind of wanted to watch. It was like kind of a schlocky Fast and Furious like action movie.
Oh man, there's some you see like trailers and you're like, what? Like, what? I mean, I'm in, but like what?
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it was an interesting movie, and I just don't watch that many Bollywood movies, so I thought I would, be like, it's got all kinds of craziness to it. It's kind of like Patrick Williams talking about that RR thing where it's like you start looking into this stuff and then you get into like the politics and like where is this coming from and like is it saying something else and like who were the actual people involved. So, but yeah, interesting to say the least. So,
I'm in.
Yeah. How about you? Did you watch anything?
I haven't. I'm dying to watch The Northman, which came out last week, and we couldn't go, so I'm all upset about that. Now it's like the choice between watching the second Doctor Strange movie this weekend or The Northman, and I have to make that personal decision. And I'm not emotionally ready for it. And then I also had a friend that has hard pitched me Barry.
Oh yeah,
and because the third season is coming
Michael?
Up. No,
he's been trying to get me to watch Barry for years.
No, although yes, but so I might maybe jump into watching Barry just because they're like 30-minute episodes, so I think I can actually get through it. But
I think we're very anti-TV though these days.
I am hugely anti. Nothing more fun than having all my coworkers be like, "Have you watched this TV show?" No, I don't really watch TV. Well, let me tell you everything about this TV show. You should go watch it.
I didn't say I was never going to watch it.
No, I am never going to watch it, and it's for your own personal benefit that I do not.
Yeah,
because then you will have to deal with I watched one season and stopped watching and I never finished it, and then you have to have you should finish it. Oh, the second season, the third season's the best. Fifth season's the one you really got to get to. No, I will not. It's real hard for me to get through television shows. So I suck at it. So just let's talk about the 2-hour movie. I can sit through a 2-hour movie.
Yeah,
let's talk about a movie.
I guess it's funny because everybody's all excited about Doctor Strange, and I'm like, I mean, I got Moon Knight, I got my anime. There's like there's that new it's a new show on Apple Plus that I want to give a try. That's called Apple TV has really been like where my sweet spot recently.
Yeah,
that's it's like God, what the hell is it called? It's like this lady, and she's like, somebody tries to murder her, and then it's like, oh, there's like a time traveling serial killer that's stalking her throughout her life or whatever.
What?
Yeah, it's apparently like real fucking dark.
Yeah, it sounds dark.
What is it? Murder? Can I type in murderer?
Numbers in the building? No.
After party. It's real hard to find stuff. What is it? Why do they keep showing me stuff that is not on Apple TV?
Yeah.
Shining Girls.
Oh, with Elizabeth Moss.
Yeah. So I don't know. I Apple TV has been like, I feel like recently with the amount of just things in the world, I've really wanted like very prestige-y, artsy fartsy stuff in my weekly TV thing. Like, you know, I really appreciated that Moon Knight is like trying something different, you know, as opposed to just being the standard Marvel schlock.
Yeah.
So
I have not. I have to finish the last episode, and then I will have gotten through
one TV show,
one television show. But in fairness to me, to other people, I guess, it is a 6-episode series. Like, I did not get through a 13-episode television series. I got through 6 episodes.
I think what are the other ones? That Undone show is back. I mean, I talked about Better Call Saul last week, but yeah, that I need to check that out. Undone was that rotoscoped Amazon Prime show with the time travel and Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah,
and there's suddenly a second season of it. It's just like, oh, it's out.
Yeah.
So, and then I got all my animes and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, I can't do it. I just never. If I have free time, I'm doing things like I'm sewing. I have a few like artsy fartsy projects or crafting projects that I'm always doing, and people are very like, throw on a TV show, put it on in the background, and it's like, if this is a brand new TV show that I've never watched before, I can't just throw it on in the background and not pay attention.
Yeah.
Because I need to know what the fuck's going on. Otherwise, it's just Bill Hader talking in the background. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. You can't not pay attention to the
That's
thing
what I'm saying. And then people will be like, I just like to throw on an anime in the background. And it's like, all right. But then if you fuck me up with that, like, but it has to be subbed, not dubbed. And then it's like, I can't read and sew at the same. I will sew my finger into a dress.
God, is there anything? We're gonna get to this in just a second, but like, is there anything worse? Is there anything worse than when you try to show somebody something that you really like, and then like you look over and they're looking
like
at their phone, and you're just like, oh no, or when they fall asleep halfway through and you're just like, god damn it.
That's always the worst. I always want to show people things I love, like this TV show, this movie or whatever. And what I do is if it's streaming, I recommend it. If I have it on Blu-ray or DVD, I lend it to them, and then I go like, come back to me after you watched it. I don't want to be in the room. I don't want to be the person that's like watching the screen but like sitting sideways so I can watch them watch at the same time. That shit is just like, it'll get to me.
I've learned that there's too many landmines in that situation. Like, there's one where it's like, my ex could not finish watching a movie, and so no matter what we started watching, it was like 2/3 of the way through they were asleep.
Yeah,
and it's just like, well, God damn it.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do here?
The worst is when that happens, and then when you talk about the movie like 3 days later, and they're like, I just didn't like it. And it's like, how do you even know?
You didn't even watch it?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't like the first 15 minutes of this movie, and then the snoring that ensued afterwards? Like, I just thought it was really boring. No, you fell asleep during it.
The other one, so there's falling asleep, you're looking at your phone, there's I'm going to the bathroom, do you want me to pause it? No. And then there is my personal least favorite, which is that guy the murderer? And it's like, that is what the movie is about.
We are trying to learn this together. Now,
I know the answer.
The issue.
I will not tell you.
Yeah. Here's the issue. John and I are both a bit of loving mystery and like whodunits.
Yeah.
So we do, in fact, go, it's that person. No. I think it's that person. Okay, hang on. Pause the movie.
Let's argue about who we think it is.
Why would you think it's that person? We'll just get into it. Not like crazy, but yeah, we'll definitely. There have been moments where we'll watch a movie and be like, no.
I feel like it's critical if I ever date a woman ever again in my life to be like, I need to be with somebody who like really cares about watching a movie, like letting it spool out, and isn't like, no, tell me, you already know, it won't ruin the movie for me, just tell me what happens at the very end, like 20 minutes in, and it's just like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
There's a whole experience.
Like, you're missing out if you're so focused on...
Which I'm not saying that's bad. It's just, it's like, it's not me, man.
As somebody that does absorb a lot of media, I think it's really important to be with somebody who also absorbs it the same way.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you're the kind of person that's just like, like I take a movie, leave a movie, whatever. I'll watch something if it's on Netflix or whatever, but I'll read this book or I'll do whatever. I'm doing my own thing, and I don't care what they do. That's fine. That's on you. But like, if I need an interactive relationship about the media that I'm like consuming, I need them to be on the same level as me. I could never date somebody that's like, I haven't watched a movie since like the 90s. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, red flag.
Well, speaking of red flags, we had a big red flag this week from the likes of Square
Enix.
Yep. Not to say that Square Enix hasn't been kind of a shit for a while.
Hot minute.
Never forgive them for demanding that my boys over IO Interactive make Hitman 2016 into an episodic game, and then getting real mad that it didn't sell like fucking bajillion copies.
Yeah.
Like The Walking Dead. It's like, it's Hitman. It's not The Walking Dead. And against all odds, they created the greatest episodic game that's ever been created. Fight me, nerds. And then and then they got real mad, and then they let him go. And like, do you know that Hitman 3 recouped its budget in like the first 15 days that it was out? Like, they completely recouped their entire operating budget to make that game, like in the first few days, as an independent studio, like independently published. So anyway, let's talk about the boner that Square Enix has pulled this week. Square Enix has this is very strange. They sold off Eidos, Crystal Dynamics, and Square Enix Montreal, as well as, with those studios, the franchise rights to Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, and Thief, to a company called, I think it's like a finance group called Embracer Group, for $300 million, which honestly to me seems very low for like that three studios and that many like IPs. Like, those Tomb Raider is not unpopular. You can make a new Tomb Raider and just like fucking it prints money, right? Like, Deus Ex, like, I don't know, that's a hard sell. I guess I can understand they're doing Eidos Montreal because, like, well, again, Square Enix forced them to make Deus Ex Mankind Divided, I believe, they forced them to end it on a cliffhanger for a sequel, and then like never made the sequel, and then they had them make Guardians of the Galaxy, and then they expected Guardians of the Galaxy to sell like Tomb Raider, or to sell like Call of Duty, and then when it didn't, because of course it didn't, like,
you're setting weird bars that you've made up in your head with no actual like context into video games. Yeah.
So for reference, Embracer Group already owns, I've never heard of these guys until today. I don't keep up with some of this stuff. Gearbox, THQ Nordic, Saber Interactive, Koch Media, Deep Silver, and Coffee Stain Studios, which is that's a big chunk of names right there.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those companies make stuff that just Gearbox all by itself, right? That's Borderlands stuff. They also own Dark Horse Comics.
They own Dark Horse Comics?
Yes.
Huh.
I don't know the last time I bought a Dark Horse comic, but
still weird.
And then the tabletop game publisher called Asmodee. They said that this is going to establish a, quote, more efficient allocation of resources and enable... Wait, hold on. No, I'm going to leave that part for later.
Nah.
I'm going to leave what's going to enable for in a minute because this is just
that's going to be its whole other thing.
Somebody left a comment the other day saying that the Rage Select podcast is real complainy pants.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
We only complain about one thing here at Rage Select.
You know what? Like, this is Square Enix, who I complain bitterly about, doing something that I would like to complain bitterly about, selling off good studios instead of making fucking video games. And then what they're going to do with the money is something that I love to complain about.
Yep.
So this isn't called just like Super Cool Fun Time Select. Oh, no.
This is Rage Select, baby.
Select. So before we get to that, though, we have to ask ourselves, well, like, did they keep anything, right? Because obviously Square Enix kept, you'll notice that Crystal Dynamics got sold, but the Avengers rights did not get sold, which makes me really curious about what's going to happen with that game, because Crystal Dynamics was the ones that were working on the Avengers.
Yeah.
They could, sometimes you'll see in a contract thing like this where it could be possible that Crystal Dynamics has a contract to work on Avengers for like 5 years, and so they're going to be owned by Embracer but still working on the IP for Square Enix. Who knows? But the one thing that I will say one really nice thing about this is that if you look at the software companies that Embracer Group owns, Gearbox and THQ and like Deep Silver and Coffee Stain, like those companies have gotten to put out a bunch of crazy shit. Like they've kind of got to do what they want.
Yeah.
Like, so the idea that Eidos Montreal could be like, yes, we would like to finish Deus Ex that we started like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And that these guys are like, yeah, man, Deus Ex makes money. Fucking go for it. Like, here's $50 million and you've got 2 years and just like, you know what to do. Go do it.
Yeah. There is a rare occasion where the like business end ownership works better because they're like, oh, I don't know video games. Just do what you want to do. Yeah. And then if it makes money, you get to keep doing what you want to do, as opposed to the like, we know video games and the algorithm says that we should do this, that, and the other, and we'll force you to do this so that we can force the customers to do that. And it's like, no, sometimes just...
Sometimes capitalism works.
Oddly enough, not often enough, but like just make us money is like a great goal. Yes. Just do that. That's fine.
Especially because sometimes this stuff gets like weirdly focused into like, we don't want you to make money. We want you to make all the money.
Yeah.
And so if you don't make all the money, like the idea that Eidos Montreal was forced to make Deus Ex, and then, oh my God, the shit they were forced to do with that franchise. They forced to make a multiplayer mode and like a weird phone app and these microtransactions, and it was just kind of a mess.
Like, please, let us just make a good game.
And then I feel like they didn't want to let them make another Deus Ex game, and so they were like, well, we do have contact at Marvel because they're making the Avengers game. Like, do you want to make a Marvel thing? That'll make a lot of money. And they're like, well, we like the Guardians of the Galaxy. And they're like, sure, fine, do whatever. And then it didn't make the money that they expected because, of course, it didn't. Anyway, what I was trying to get at was that Square Enix has kept stuff. They've obviously kept all of the Final Fantasy bullshit, right? Like all the Japanese stuff is not off the table. But then the list of things that they decided to keep, to me, is equally as weird as the amount of things that they as they sold. I don't know how familiar you are with like what IPs Square Enix publishes that are
100%.
Western developed.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's what they kept. Life is Strange, Just Cause, and Outriders, which Life is Strange makes a certain amount of sense. That's got those tend to do pretty well.
Yeah.
Just Cause, the last 2 Just Causes have been hot garbage. Everybody has hated. And Outriders is the game that People Can Fly, the guys that made Bulletstorm made, that's like an online Destiny style like powers-based thing that was on Game Pass that, from what I understand, is not doing all that well.
Are we certain that they're keeping those because they actively chose to keep those, or that they just, the people buying were like, hey, keep that? They're
like, well, 50 million, and we'll give you these other three. And they're just like, no.
That's fine.
Listen, I'm 30 years old. I know what Deus Ex is, and I know that Just Cause sucks a bunch of donkey balls. So you go ahead.
When you're somebody's trying to feed you more food, and you're no, I couldn't possibly have any more. I am fine.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what that interaction might have been.
So so they did that, and then it's time for the big reveal. What are they going to do with their money? Blockchain, AI, the cloud. This was the quote. The transaction enables the launch of new businesses by moving forward with investments in fields including blockchain, AI, and the cloud.
Gonna get you that Just Cause NFT.
I don't know how much you've seen this right now, but like, do you know that like the NFT market is down like 92% at this point? Like it's kind of crashing.
Yeah.
Like it's possible that something like this might be a big injection of, like, they'd take that 300 million and just like turn 200 million of it back into the market. It could create a bump. But like the thing is that I don't know that the NFT blockchain market, and I'm gonna you guys all know, I think it's a scam. Like, I actually know what I am going to go into this just very briefly. I was saying to Michael the other day about this, where it's like, I don't know how much you've run into this, Amanda, but like the pitch for NFTs and cryptocurrency in general on the blockchain, right? Not just NFTs, is like, hey, there's a brand new thing. Nobody knows about it. It's like a secret thing that not a lot of people know about, and it will make you rich. And all you have to do is give me some of your money, and you will become a rich person. Like if you boil down the pitch of NFTs and you get rid of the DAOs and the fucking the blockchain and the minting and the gas fees and all that bullshit, and Elon Musk, you get rid of all that. That's the pitch. And like, that might be the oldest con in all of human history. Like, just take NFTs off the table. If anybody in the history of your entire life comes to you and they're like, I've got this thing and it will make you a shitload of money, and what I need you to do is give me some of your money and you will become rich. And then you say, what's the thing? And they start explaining it and it doesn't make sense to you. That is a scam.
Yeah.
That is a con. Like, that is just a con. That's how people take their money. I'm a Nigerian prince and I need the money to get my family out of prison. Oh, your relative in Colorado that you never knew existed died, and we just need the money to get the house out of escrow, and then you're going to get $1 million. Like, there's no end to the amount of just like, I got a hot tip on a horse in the 4th race. Tell you what, I got a guy and he knows what horses are going to win right before they come out, like that movie The Sting. Give me $500 and I will give it to my bookie, and then meet me here in an hour and you will quadruple your money. I swear. Like, these are all the same thing.
Oh yeah, I when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I worked at a Barnes and Noble.
Yeah,
and somebody came in and tried to hard pitch me on a job, but it sounded like a legit job at the time. And he was like, "There's a Subway across the street. If you don't want to talk about another job while you're at a job, let's go get lunch there tomorrow. My treat. I'll
buy you lunch."
And it was everything seemed very, very official except for the go get Subway for a job interview. But I was like, what? Sure. I was 19. I didn't know. And I went, and he started pitching me an MLM essentially. And I remember just like, this is the most disappointing sandwich I've ever had in my entire life. It's just like, oh man, I was like real hyped about the idea of like getting into like I got recruited, I got found or whatever, and it was like,
just got to maintain really hardcore eye contact while you get through that BMT. Just
I was just like eating a spicy Italian, just like looking at this dude like I'm never gonna see you again.
Yep.
Like you could just fuck right off.
Yep. So anyway, I say this because I feel like at this point we might be reaching. Who knows? I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know shit. I could be wrong. But the current thing that we're at right now is that like some people who have bought really expensive NFTs have tried to resell them and can get like 1%.
Yeah.
Like the one about the first tweet where it was like this guy paid $2.9 million for it and tried to sell it, and the highest offer he got was $3,600. And then he rejected that, and then he got another offer later on that was $14,000 and rejected that as well. And was like, I'm going to wait for a serious bid. And it's like, I don't think you're going to get a serious bid, especially not right now with inflation and like the cost of living, like fucking houses in Austin, Texas. Yeah, like who's got the money to spend on this horse shit?
Yeah.
Like you probably got a lot of that money from the people that bought this stuff early on from like, you know, suburban kids who can get their dad to loan them $2,000 because seriously, this guy online says it'll make me rich.
Oh, yeah.
Who are not going to get another $2,000 from their dad when they flush the first $2K down the toilet. So
just a monkey, smoking a cigarette,
and then it got stolen,
and then and then it's not even yours anymore.
Yeah, so this is really disappointing because I feel like Square Enix. It makes a certain amount of sense to me that like Square Enix started as a kind of regular Squaresoft, started as kind of a regular company, and they built this kind of, they were on the cutting edge of graphics and RPGs, and they brought RPGs to the West in a way that really hadn't seen, you know, there were Western RPGs, but JRPGs didn't break into the West in a big way until a lot of the Square stuff started coming with the Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII, the PlayStation stuff. And then it's like they got bought by Enix, and then at a certain point, like all the rest of game development caught up with where they were. Like they couldn't get away with just good engines, and like there were other people that had really good stories, and people started to realize like, oh, I can find a game with a better story, even though the graphics might not be as good. And they've been slowly ratcheting down in sales, and their only goal has been just to kind of keep doing the same thing over and over again. Like Final Fantasy 14 has worked out really well for them, and they're taking a lot of customers from Blizzard and World of Warcraft, but like they're not really doing the same like 10 years in development and then it's the biggest game of the year kind of cycle the way that they used to.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're flailing, and I feel like somebody has really convinced them that NFTs are the way to go, or blockchain, or whatever it is.
We're going to get a movie in like 10 years about some dude that has gone to every fucking video game company and has somehow pitched this NFT shit to them.
There's going to be one guy.
It's going to be one fucking guy that's just like, or his troop of buddies or whatever that has talked the video game industry into fucking NFTs.
I think so. Or everybody.
Yeah.
Like everybody.
And that person's going to be played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
And a lot of makeup.
And
like
a lot
with a nose.
Yeah.
He's got a fake nose.
It's just,
so this is disappointing.
Yeah.
Shall we say. From there, we're not done with, apparently this podcast is just turning into fucking like stock news or whatever, but we got some new lawsuits on the Activision Blizzard merger. This actually, file this one under this weird thing that I've been seeing over the last few years, which is companies being held accountable by their shareholders because technically they broke like the law of you have a fiduciary responsibility to your shareholders. So this is really weird because this is the state of New York has brought a suit against Activision and Bobby Kotick because the Employee Retirement and Pension Fund of New York bought Activision stock because retirement pension funds will buy and sell stocks to make money, right? And so they believe that the sale is being done kind of in like, okay, how's the best way to describe this? They think that the sale to Microsoft is not being done at a high enough share price, that because Bobby Kotick and the board of directors mismanaged Activision to the point where there was a scandal that then dropped the cost of the stock and then allowed Microsoft to come in and make their bid to buy it, that like, because Kotick and the board didn't tell the stockholders that this could potentially happen, that they essentially lost them money by not letting the shareholders weigh in on the potential of a scandal.
Yeah.
And that then the reduced stock price that they're selling at is not the financially the best move for the stockholders, because it was reduced by essentially CEO incompetence, not by the actual valuation of the company going down, and that letting Microsoft buy it at this reduced price is technically not in the best interest of the stockholders, because they should be buying it like $20 more a share.
Yeah.
And that by mismanaging this whole thing, they've essentially robbed the stockholders of what they should be getting for this transaction. It's a real windy fucking road.
Yeah. I get it, but also, I don't know.
It's one of those weird things. It's like there's been a bunch of lawsuits against CD Projekt Red for being like, you told everybody that Cyberpunk was fine. You didn't let the stockholders know that it was in a bad place. And then like because we would have sold before the game came out if we knew that when the game came out, it was going to drop the stock because the reports on it were so bad, kind of thing. Anyway, it's very difficult. And basically this lawsuit is asking for kind of like a lot of documents. And I think that what they're looking for is a thing that we kind of know already, that like this scandal dropped, Activision got in trouble, Microsoft then just kind of showed up and they were like, hey Bobby, you don't have to do this anymore. Like if you sell to us, you could just fucking take the payout and retire.
Yeah.
And that and the board was like, yes, it'll be your problem, and then we all get our golden parachutes, we get to go home.
Yeah.
But that like that's not, you can't, like when you have a publicly traded company, you can't just take into consideration what the board wants. You have to take into consideration what the stockholders want.
Do you think the rich people in a board give a shit about anything?
Well,
they're so used to getting away with so much.
Yeah, I know. I think that this will probably result in a payout to the New York pension and retirement fund.
Yeah.
Because I do think, though, because I don't think that Activision wants any documents out in the world. And I don't think there's any other way, because technically speaking, like, this is one of those weird things where it's like you can't buy your way out of the state of New York is bringing a lawsuit against you.
Yeah. Because
New York attorneys are just going to be fucking sharpening their knives and licking their lips at like, oh my God, we get to go out to LA and fucking prosecute Bobby Kotick for financial malfeasance. We are going to get so much fucking money that's going to go directly into the retirement fund for the public. We're needing money for the retirement fund and just suck it out of Activision or Microsoft for that matter. Somebody's going to pay.
Yeah.
So
they got the money.
Yeah. It's probably never going to get any further than that because, like I said, they don't want to talk about this stuff at all.
Yeah.
In fact, that's actually what we have a story in a minute that's kind of similar, and I just got to keep going faster because still got a lot of stuff to go through. So there was a special meeting. We got a few Activision Blizzard story here. There was a special meeting with stockholders where, in spite of all that, this should tell you how much Activision Blizzard stock is out there. 98% of the actual stockholders of Activision Blizzard have now voted to approve the purchase of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft.
Uh-huh.
This does not have anything to do with the California lawsuit, with the the Securities and Exchange Commission investigation, and even the White House has signaled that they're like less just like, yeah, man, let's let giant corporations do whatever the fuck they want than the Trump administration was. So like there's been some rumblings that there might be some friction. At the end of the day, most people are saying that this is probably all going to go through because this is America, and when was the last time we actually stopped a giant corporation from buying another giant corporation?
Oh, yeah.
Like, we don't tend to get in the way of that, even though we probably should a lot of times. Like, I kind of wish that Disney didn't own everything.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So, Activision plus Xbox plus Blizzard plus King plus Bethesda plus Double Fine plus Obsidian plus Tango Softworks plus the Initiative plus the Coalition plus one more that I always forget about. That's all Microsoft, at this point. So,
yeah, Microsoft is huge.
Yeah, and they're only getting bigger. But we had another Activision thing. This is interesting. This was not part of that shareholders meeting, but apparently there are some shareholders that have brought up two proposals for the next shareholder meeting, and they are both okay. So here are the proposals.
Yes.
Number one, there will be a non-management elected representative for the workers of Activision on the board of directors. So the workers of the company will elect a representative of their workers to sit on the board to basically be their representative in board decisions. Number two, that Activision Blizzard will produce a yearly report on how well they are meeting things like worker equity, gender inclusion, yada, yada, yada down the line. The stuff that people want, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
And a publicly available, here was our target goal and here's where we got this year.
Mm-hmm.
The board of Activision is recommending to all shareholders to vote against all of these things, both of these things. This is stupid.
Yeah.
This is just obviously they don't want a person looking at what they're doing, right? They couldn't do the horse shit if there was a person who wasn't part of the fucking country club.
It's always kind of a bad sign when they're like, yeah, but we shouldn't have to tell you. Of course we're gonna make it a better place.
Let me read this quote. Activision Blizzard what does it say? Activision Blizzard has implemented a number of initiatives designed to enhance our workplace culture. Maintaining the very best workplace remains our focus, and we believe having such a workplace will give us a competitive advantage in attracting and retaining the highly in-demand talent. Okay, that's not the one I wanted. Best about our gamers, significant progress. What did they say here? Allowing their representative to sit on the board, quote, seeks to replace the careful judgment of the board as to the criteria that should be reflected in the director candidate pool. The board and nominating and corporate governance committee must have discretion to determine the director criteria to best serve the shareholders of the company, as this continuously evolving criteria is necessary as blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you go read all this bullshit. This is bullshit. They don't want to. They don't want to.
Yeah, they just don't want to be held accountable.
They don't want. They don't want somebody looking at what they're doing because and I know the adage, right? Like, well, what does it matter if the police are surveilling you if you're not doing anything wrong?
Yeah.
But that's private citizenry. This is the board of directors for a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah.
You guys are probably doing something fucking wrong. And where we are right now is probably a result of the fact that you guys didn't have anybody looking over your shoulder and got to just fucking make these decisions.
Also, just so we're clear, not even probably.
Yeah.
We know they've done things wrong. So this is not, I don't know. It's just real weird.
It's
listen, baby, I told you I'd change. I don't know why you got to be so suspicious all the time now.
The other thing is for the report, their rationale was along the lines of meeting an arbitrary goal is not the thing that we should be focused on. We are focused on making this the best. It's always we have your best intentions in mind, and trust us, we are moving in that direction. And we don't need a thing written down. We're all good friends here. We're gonna do what's good.
Yeah.
But the problem is that over the last 5 years, it has been completely demonstrated. No, you're not.
Yeah.
It took news reports that say this person's a serial sexual abuser to get that person fired after 10 years.
Yeah.
The stuff that came out, you obviously didn't want to see the light of day. It's there's a thing with Bobby Kotick where he wants what the California Department of Affairs, or Housing and Employment or whatever, they like basically just kind of like blanket requested like any lawsuit with Bobby Kodak's name on it, and Bobby Kodak was like, that's inappropriate. This has nothing to do with my board of directorship. And it's like, why would you have lawsuits with your name on them? Like, that's not a thing that normal people have to deal with.
Yeah.
I swear, you guys.
Concerning, Bobby.
There are no lawsuits with my name on them. Like,
so far.
So, yeah,
I'm just looking for the right lawyer, Jeff.
A lot of this just smacks to me. And since this started, like, last year, right, they want to be able to do the thing where they're like, we're going to make forward progress on this issue.
Yeah.
Now, stop fucking looking at us and leave us the fuck alone.
Yeah.
And now we're going to go do whatever the fuck we want to. And the problem is that the moment that you stop looking at them, generally speaking, it just goes like it's never going to be a thing in the first place.
Yeah.
Or it was lip service that we can totally undo once the heat is off.
Yeah.
So
fucking cue Henry Rollins' liar song. This is.
All right. You know what? We talked about fiscal fiduciary responsibility and Indian prostitution.
And it was a rip-roaring good time, Jeff.
Let's talk about video games because Blizzard announced a video game.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you would think that, maybe. Would you think that?
I would often think things.
Did you think that Blizzard announcing a video game is a good thing?
I used to.
So, Warcraft Arclight came out with a big cinematic trailer. Oh, it's so pretty. It is
very pretty.
It's a very pretty Blizzard game. Little figurine Warcraft characters coming up in their little CGI bar, and then they're going down, and look, they're so cute, and they're having little fights with little cartoon other guys.
Yeah,
this is just a fucking Clash of Clans like phone game thing.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
It's an RTS, and it looks the trailer for it, the cinematic trailer looks great. When you actually see what it looks like as gameplay, it pretty much just looks like kind of relatively standard phone garbage.
Yeah.
Like you just drag a bunch of guys on a little field and they fight each other. And then like you can log in with your daily bonus. And it's got multiplayer, so you can also challenge your friends. And
bold of you to assume I played Blizzard games and have friends.
And the little characters are like, they're like quote unquote toys. It's basically like the old like Skylanders thing, except it's all virtual. And like, don't get me wrong, the graphics are nice, but I mean, like, this is the last kind of game that I ever want to play again in my life.
Yeah.
Like,
I also kind of think that we might not be the audience for it.
Oh, almost certainly not. 100% not. I mean, like, I don't know. Do you play any phone games?
No, not since Pokemon Go.
I don't either. I've tried.
I don't got that kind of time. I have a shocking amount of astrology apps on my phone right now. So
for me, I spend all my day in the room that we're in right now in front of every game console that's ever been made.
Yeah,
and a computer.
I don't need to go on my phone for that.
Yeah, why would I need to use my phone? In fact, if I have to go outside, look, a Nintendo Switch. Look, like there's a 3DS in this room somewhere.
Just fucking hiding with a knife. I'm scared.
Yeah, I've got like somewhere I've got a Raspberry Pi Game Boy that'll play every Sega Genesis game. I haven't even put it together. I've had it for like 2 years. You can pre-register for this. It's
looks pretty mid.
It looks like, so what's weird about it, right, is that like Blizzard's in a really strange place right now because Diablo 4, I don't know what the fuck is taking so long with Diablo 4. Like, they had this Diablo Immortal that was made by like this Chinese company, and last week they announced that they're putting it out on they put out a release date for putting it on phones, but it's also coming to the PC. So it's like, why?
Yeah.
Like World of Warcraft is getting a new expansion, but I feel like Hearthstone is kind of treading water. Like, they need something new, and like the only thing they've got is Overwatch 2. But like when all the controversy started, Jeff Kaplan or whatever, he like left, right? So like reorging that. Diablo 4 lost some of their personnel. Right. Blizzard got restructured as a whole. All this stuff is in weird flux right now, and so like, I mean, yeah, you can slap together a crappity phone game That's not a problem.
Yeah.
But like, I kind of expect better from Blizzard than a crappity phone game. So.
I think you were expecting better from the wrong Blizzard.
From 5 years ago, Blizzard?
Yeah.
That's probably true. Well, speaking of the games that they are coming out with, we had... I got a better transition than that.
Yes.
Speaking of 5 years ago, Amanda, what have they done to Tracer's butt?
Okay.
So there was a Overwatch 2 beta, and there was this screenshot that came out of Tracer standing in profile, and it looks like she's rolled flat in the
ass
badonkey area.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Oh man!" Let me see if I can find. So much of this is porn in this Kotaku story, so I want to like see if I can find the one. Nope, that's like not. That's just butts.
People are creating an artificial controversy.
Yeah. So basically, like, they put this out and they were like, "What? They've nerfed Tracer's butt again?" And then somebody
nerfed her butt.
Somebody took a picture of what Tracer looks like is standing in profile in the current game.
Yeah.
And it's the same. And then they also are like, yeah, also it's probably kind of just a lighting thing. Like if you turn the camera a little bit, like there's a butt there. Like
this is
also who the fuck cares?
Yeah, oh my God. Although now I love the idea of saying that they nerfed her butt. That's fucking hilarious.
Well, because you remember, right? The backwards pose that was the whole big thing in the beginning. And everybody was just like, I can't believe they took out the looking over her shoulder butt pose. And it was like the biggest, stupidest story for like a week. Proof that 5 years ago was just as irritating and sideworthy as
turns out
nowadays.
The times are not a-changin'.
Also, I'm just going to say right now, like, you know, if you want to see a busty version of Tracer and some pornography, there is no shortage.
It exists.
There is a subreddit I found out in here that is just like Tracer porn subreddit. Like that's Overwatch porn 1. Yeah. This is r/Tracer NSFW. So specific subreddit specifically for this one Overwatch character.
That's horrifying.
So, yeah. It's also stupid.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to focus on.
Yes.
Touch grass, everybody. Just a little.
It's raining outside.
Dance in the fucking rain.
Should we start selling from like Rage Select just like a little, those things that have the nails in them that you put on your face?
Yeah.
Like that size, right?
Yeah.
But it's just a little bit of grass.
Yeah.
And then you can just put your hand on it. And you're like,
just touch grass.
I have touched grass.
Yeah.
I have touched
Rage Select will help you touch some grass.
And then we can sell a different version that's in the shape of Tracer's butt, but it's also grass.
Jesus Christ.
And then everybody's like, checkmate, Rage Select.
I've touched this grass.
Gross. Gross. In other online multiplayer news, we got some Destiny news. Destiny this is actually really interesting. Bungie took a cheat manufacturer to court for copyright infringement, basically saying that like by using bits of Destiny code to make their cheat, you have infringed upon our copyright. This is a lot of, I didn't know this, but apparently this is the way that a lot of like game companies will go after cheat makers is by basically saying like, oh, you infringed on our copyright. And most of the time the cheat makers are like, you know, some dude what lives in Akron or like, you know, like 3 teenage boys in fucking Florida.
Yeah.
And so like they don't show up to California Superior Court and then they just get a summary judgment against them. Apparently this company, Aim Junkies, did show up in court. And, you know, in the preliminary injunction, when they were brought before the judge actually said, this is not copyright infringement. Like, you have not argued your case that this is copyright infringement. You just restated that this is copyright infringement.
Yeah.
And you haven't presented enough for me to allow this to go forward as a prosecutorial case.
Yeah.
But they didn't entirely throw it out because they did say that like this aimbot is using Destiny's name and description and trademark like on their website to sell this thing as like totally works with Destiny, and that you could probably make a case is falls under the statutes that deal with like if I make a cookie and I call it like Trorio brand cookies, and it's like 2 chocolate cookies with the cream in the middle, and people be like, yeah, you can't like make a thing that's so close to another thing that the consumer could be confused and be like, oh, I thought I was buying Transformers by Michael Bay, but I was actually buying Transmorphers by The Asylum. So that you could actually make the case that like by marketing this in a specific way that you're technically like confusing potentially the customer about what they're purchasing. That they might think that they're purchasing something that is actually sanctioned by Bungie because of the trademark Destiny being used. So it's an interesting case.
It is interesting.
Yeah. Again, one of those things where it's like, I don't feel like any of this. I feel like the judge should just sentence those guys to be beaten in the parking lot with Nerf bats until they pee blood, because nobody likes a cheater in a video game.
And nobody likes to pee blood.
And nobody likes to pee blood, but you know.
You're making video games bad.
Yeah.
So we're going to beat you.
Yeah. But you know what? After years, I just was like, I'm just done playing online video games. So how about that? Like, I don't have to worry about cheaters anymore because I just don't fucking play online video games.
Yeah.
So yeah. Call of Duty, on the other hand, has gone a whole different route, and I love this.
Do you?
I do not love Call of Duty.
In a good way, or in your weird, like, shitty, you like to love the horrible things that happen to people? In the way that you, like, love seeing somebody get hit in the balls by a football?
That way, sort of. Okay. So, for the cheaters.
Okay.
So, Call of Duty Vanguard, I believe, put out this specific anti-cheat software called Ricochet. Mm-hmm. And they've done some stuff in the past where, like, if you're found to be cheating, they'll, like, turn off the ability to crit other players.
Oh, okay.
They'll alter the gameplay. They don't just, like, ban you. They make the gameplay shitty for you.
Good.
So they've done a few different things, but the latest one is just chef kiss. What they do is, if you're found to be cheating, they just make every other player in the game invisible to you, and they also turn off all the sounds that they make, so you're just on the map and you just get shot,
killed,
and like you can't see anybody.
That's great.
So
I love it.
They're like, yeah, be on the lookout. If you see somebody spinning around in a circle complaining in chat that they can't see anybody, that's because they're probably a fucking cheater. And then they just get killed over and over again.
Enjoy your red A, you sons of bitches. Get out of here. That's a good one.
Yes.
Just spinning in circles. Where's everybody? This game fucking sucks.
Yeah, and there's blap, blap. Yeah, the developer joking you could likely identify cheaters by looking for players spinning in circles, hollering, "Who's shooting me?" Which, yes, more of this, please.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I'm a big fan of using, of making games shitty to people that are trying to make games shitty for other people.
Yeah.
There's a thing, I don't remember, the most infamous one I remember was that, like, Earthbound, like the Super Nintendo game, like if you pirated it, there was a thing where it was like it slowly got harder and harder and harder, and then if you managed to get all the way to the end of the game, at a certain point it just like removed the thing you need to get
like,
to the end of the game in like the last 2 hours.
Yeah,
like it was like you're gonna play all 60 hours of this RPG and then just like
not be able to finish it.
Sorry.
I really enjoyed the game developer simulator, because if you pirated it, you couldn't make enough money to move on after a certain point.
Oh yeah,
and they're like, sorry, too many people pirated your game, and it's like, ooh, cute. That's cute.
Yeah,
I love it.
Let's see. In other, God, so much Activision this week. We have more.
Damn, Activision, chill. You ever just fucking chill?
We got a new thing where speaking of Call of Duty Vanguard did not sell as well as, like, it didn't match what they were looking for when it came to the Call of Duty like trajectory.
Yeah.
So it missed its earnings forecast by about $300 million.
Yikes.
And Activision came out and basically said, like, they said, while Call of Duty remains one of the most successful entertainment franchises of all time, our 2021 premium release didn't meet our expectations. We believe primarily due to our own execution. The game's World War II setting didn't resonate with some of our community, and we didn't deliver as much innovation in the premium game as we would have liked. That probably has a certain amount of truth to it, but also, you know, like, it doesn't at all take into account the fact that, like, all of last year, your company was being dragged like every other week. There was a new fucking thing, and that you might have somebody look like go. It's possible that having another World War II game that didn't look especially interesting, and then like somebody looks at the screenshots and then also looks at the story about the fucking horrible shit happening at your company and is like, you know what? Halo Infinite is coming out this year.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go back to Halo for a season.
I just feel like maybe we're at a turning point of you're not going to make a lot of money with more of the same.
Yep.
Like, just a little bit. I think there's a point where you have to kind of push in some direction to, like, maintain. Even if it pisses people off for a little bit, it'll at least give you some traction for any kind of motion.
There's a lot of contributing factors here, right? Like, Warzone is free. Like, their battle royale game is like free, so you didn't even have to buy it to play Warzone. And it's like, well, that's another reason that people wouldn't buy your game.
Yeah, they're splitting their own.
Also, the quality of the game was probably affected by the fact that it was in like the last stages of development in 2020 when they had to go to work from home, and like the whole video game industry was all fucked up. So like, there's a lot of reasons why this isn't very good, and boiling it all down to just like, I don't know, it seems like people don't like World War II anymore. And it's like, this is the kind of dumb shit that Square Enix does. So the only good thing that might come out of this is the idea that there's been some rumblings that this drop in sales might finally be the catalyst to stop Call of Duty from yearly releases.
Yeah.
To finally take it off of the, like, even though there's 3 different studios rolling through 3-year development cycles, and it's like, you guys need to kind of like take this thing onto ice and like go back and kind of figure out how to get the fire back.
Yeah.
Instead of just relying on the fact that it's like Madden.
Yeah. And that sometimes you need to let your audience chill a little bit. Give them something else. Give them a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
And don't depend on a different company to come out with a different game for their palate cleanser. Like, create your own.
Yep. Well, at this point, every single studio at Activision does nothing but work on Call of Duty. So,
which is crazy.
Like, they bought Toys for Bob, and who made that Crash game and the Crash Team Racing and the Spyro re-release, and then now they're working on Call of Duty.
Yeah. What is it? Putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Yep.
Their Call of Duty basket.
Which they took, I think, it might have been Toys for Bob, or it might have been a different company. It was the one that did like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 reboot, and like they're working on Call of Duty. Like,
that's nuts.
Everything is Call of Duty over there. And so it's like, yeah, guys, like if Call of Duty drops in sales, like you now have one game.
Yeah.
You don't even have like Skylanders to do anything. Like, it's just this one thing. And it's not like Blizzard, the other half of your company is in great shape, you know?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, last but not least for this first part, they are making a change.
Yeah.
Because every year there's a different Call of Duty. And so we just got the announcement that this year, this Call of Duty is Modern Warfare 2. Oh, wait. By change, I meant not change at all. Because
what?
We literally
already, that's...
Yeah. 2-3 years ago, they rebooted Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
And this is the sequel to the reboot of Modern Warfare 2. Not that Modern Warfare 2, not a remake of that Modern Warfare 2, the sequel to the reboot of Modern Warfare 1.
I hate everything you just said. I genuinely enjoyed the first Modern Warfare 2.
Sure.
But the
reboot was so gritty and I don't know.
Whatever.
I really like the original Modern Warfare. I played all the way through Modern Warfare 2 on stream because it was when the pandemic happened, I think I was live streaming, so I was doing like 3 hours a day, and because that game's so short, it was just like it just plowed through the entire game.
Yeah.
Because that's the one that has the like set up on top of that fucking Taco Bell because the Russians are coming.
Yeah.
That whole mission. So yeah. Not really any more information. No information about modes,
just a logo
when,
being
whatever.
released, right?
Just a silly looking logo that kind of hurts to look at in the eyeballs.
Yeah. The longer I look, the more it hurts.
Yeah. And that is that. I don't know that we have any more. I don't know. I can't remember if we have any more Activision news. But you know what? We do have a whole bunch of other news stories that are not about Activision. So when we come back, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things that are not Blizzard or Activision.
90% less Activision coming soon.
Damn right. It's time for not Activision.
Anyway, in this next Activision.
No. We're talking about Ubisoft, which was, I don't know how many people remember this, but Ubisoft was remaking Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. They announced it was like a year or two ago, and it was being done by a Ubisoft Mumbai and Ubisoft Pune, something like that, like Indian companies. And apparently it's not going so great because they announced this week that Prince of Persia Sands of Time Remastered has been pulled from them, and it's got to be made at Ubisoft, I believe, Montreal, yeah, which was the studio that made Prince of Persia games originally. It was a little strange because the Prince of Persia games, when they showed them, they looked weird. They were like kind of weirdly rough around the edges, and they didn't look entirely, and I'm not sure if that's just like the difference in a game development studio from a different country. But whatever it is, it's going over there, so who knows, maybe we'll actually see like some movement on that, because I feel like we haven't heard anything about that. And considering the fact that Prince of Persia, even a remake of the original Prince of Persia, is something that's not like a Ubisoft go-to place, climb a tower, gritty action RPG game, I like it better when that's not every single game that comes out from Ubisoft.
Yeah, I agree. Agreed.
Let's see. From there, we also found there was a leak last week from Skull and Bones. Which is very odd, very troubled, apparently. Skull and Bones, of course, I'm not sure how familiar you are with this, was announced, I think, in like 2017 or something like that, but it's been underway since 2013. It was basically taking the ship combat part of Assassin's Creed Black Flag and 3, and then turning it into like this multiplayer game.
I vaguely remember that.
You and your buddies can go out and sail ships around and do pirate stuff, and you can play it solo, or you can play it with your friends. And so, yeah, this was actually confirmed by Ubisoft that all the stuff in here is for realzos. The thing that's weird about it is it's kind of rough around the edges. It's still an alpha after all these years. The thing is that it just kind of looks like it's unclear to me exactly why this is taking so long, because it's built on top of a mechanic, the whole ship combat mechanic, that was already pretty well fleshed out in those games, and that it's been in this weird development hell for just forever. There have been some reports that like every time somebody new takes it over, they decide to kind of just like restart from scratch and like, we're going to take it in a whole different direction. And then like 3 years later, that person leaves, and then somebody else comes and they're like, oh, we're going to take it in a whole different direction.
That's kind of annoying,
because like from what I can see here, it doesn't look bad.
I mean, I wouldn't be upset at that as a game. Like, there's I don't know. They also have really hardcore DMCA'd all of the footage of it. Yeah. So you can't find it anywhere. I finally found it on Reddit. I actually had like 3 different YouTube videos, and then I was like, no, wait, that's old footage. No, wait, that's old footage. No, wait, that's old footage. And so, yeah, it doesn't look
It does not look terrible. It looks like the sort of thing where it's like you kind of get into an arena and you have to try to like, it's like a team-based thing where the main goal is how much loot the winning team gets, that's who wins. And it seems like there's a certain kind of time limit where you have to like kind of fight NPC ships, and then you can fight between the different teams, and then eventually like hugely powerful pirate hunters come in, and then you have to like leave. Like at the end of this demo, they kind of show this like, oh, you have to, one of the ships is going to sacrifice itself so that the other ships can get out. Or wait, maybe that was one of the other demos that I looked at. This is very difficult to tell. Anyway, it doesn't look bad. It's just, again, it's one of those things where Ubisoft is also in a bad position right now as a game company, where like they're losing a lot of their talent. The working conditions there are apparently very bad. There's even a lot of reports that the Guillemot family is like trying to get the company in a position where it can be purchased by like another financial group, which is very strange considering that they fought off a hostile takeover many years ago. But the story for Skull and Bones, for anybody who hasn't listened to the podcast or doesn't remember, right now seems to be that this is being made by Ubisoft Singapore, and that by when they started this studio, that the government in Singapore gave them a bunch of tax breaks, but the only way for them to keep those tax breaks is eventually a game has to come out. So they can't cancel it or move it to a different studio, because if they did that, then they would have to like retroactively pay all the tax breaks that they got back to the government, which means that this is really weird, because it also represents like a version of Assassin's Creed that Assassin's Creed hasn't been in like
quite a while,
6 to 8 years or something. Like, we're so far past the pirate thing. We had the, Odyssey and Origins and Valhalla, and all those were like kind of different. So, I mean, I think Valhalla had some more like ship to ship. I think they've all had some ship to ship combat, which to me is even weirder, because it means that you've spent several other games like refining this system, and yet it still hasn't led to like what should be like, I don't know, a 2-year project at most. Take that mechanic, spin it out, add a little bit to it, like use the assets that you've got, like, and make a multiplayer game, and then crap it out onto the PlayStation Network for $40. Call it a day.
I'm not sure. There's something weird going on that they're not releasing it, if anything.
So
I
don't know. Speaking of piracy, there's slight controversy this week from Mr. Dan Gilbert about Monkey Island. So this was very interesting to me. There was apparently Dan Gilbert has his own blog called Grumpy Gamer, and his Twitter handle is Grumpy Gamer, if I'm not mistaken. Like, that's just his personal branding. Okay. 9 years ago, he made a post called "If I Make Another Monkey Island," and it had these like 13 things that I'm gonna do if I make another Monkey Island. And apparently, some of them are not what's going into this current Monkey Island. And people are like, but you said. And so he created this new blog post. I think everybody should go read it, because it's kind of interesting, called when I made another Monkey Island. That basically says like, hey, you guys, like, when I wrote this, it was like fresh after I found out that I wasn't going to get to make another Monkey Island, and I was angry, and I just kind of banged this out.
And also, it was 10 years ago.
And it was also 10 years ago.
Come on.
So like, I'm not gonna do all the things I said. I'm gonna make the game I want to make right now.
You don't want me to make the game I wanted to make 10 years ago. You want me to make something now. I don't understand fans. I will never understand fans.
I think that one of the things that I thought was really interesting, I thought it was so fascinating and so worth like thinking about, was because we've seen what the art style for the new Monkey Island game looks like, right? It's kind of this motion comic kind of, kind of what 2D, 3D blend animated kind of thing.
Right.
And I think that people are mad that it's not like pixel art. And so he actually has this really, here, let me just see if I can say, Yeah, here it is. I have made one pixel art game in my entire career, and that was Thimbleweed Park. Monkey Island 1 and 2 weren't pixel art games. They were games using state-of-the-art tech and art. Monkey Island 1 was a 16-color EGA, and we jumped at the chance to upgrade it to 256 colors. Monkey Island 2 featured magical wizardry of scanned art by Peter Chan and Steve Purcell, and we lusted to keep pushing everything forward. Basically, like, those games were not like created as pixel art games.
That wasn't the aesthetic. That was them trying to push forward.
Yeah. That was like the best tech they had at the time to make the game.
It's so weird that people don't realize that.
Yeah.
That it wasn't like it wasn't a choice in that sense of like, this will look great. Like, this retro look. This wasn't a retro look then. This was
like
the look.
It was like 15 years ago, man, or longer. So yeah, it's an interesting read, and it basically just kind of goes to like, hey, I don't give a fuck. Like, you guys can complain, but like, we're making this, and I'm going to make it the way I want to make it.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the things they talked about was that there was like, you wanted it to be like a retro hardcore puzzle game with no hints or whatever. And I think I read something a few weeks back about how there will be like a hint system baked into the new Monkey Island, but it's like, it's where we're at right now, man. Like,
have you played any of those kinds of hard games without a hint system? You're gonna just Google a walkthrough,
right?
Just put the hint system. It doesn't hurt anybody. Don't use it if you don't want it.
Yeah. So, yeah. I'm still really looking forward to Monkey Island.
I'm in.
I'm totally on board with it.
Is there a date? When's it coming out?
I don't think we know a date.
Full sequential? Full sequential?
I don't think we know a date yet. I don't know. Those games are so hard because like it's the dialogue that is like the main thing.
Yeah.
And then they're puzzle games, which puzzle games always seem to take a lot of brain power.
Yeah, because it'll be 3 episodes of us just trying to figure out why we have a banana for no reason.
It's also interesting to me that he refers to this as Monkey Island 3A because there already has been a Monkey Island 3, but this game is going to pick up right at the end of Monkey Island 2 when it was like what they were in hell, I guess, right at the end of Monkey Island 2. It was like Guybrush Threepwood and LeChuck were in like this weird amusement park hell, and that was just kind of like where it cut off. And then the third one was like, because I remember the third one started with Guybrush Threepwood like in a bumper car on the ocean writing a log about like how he got out of hell or something like that. So, but yeah, I'm
looking forward to this.
I think it looks great. Let's see. Speaking of yelling and profanity,
welcome to Rage Select.
Apparently, the newest place where people on the internet are sneaking profanity into video games is Nintendo Switch Sports.
Nice.
So I don't know if you know this, but Nintendo Switch Sports, because Tessa and I did the dojo for it, has like a title system where you can pick 2 words, and then like people are taking that and then making real weird sussy bullshit. Like using that stuff. A fan of child seems to be a big one as like a weird. There's a fan of child with using like a Michael Jackson avatar. There's another one here that's like fan of mom,
My
and the name
Milkers.
is My Milker. So, which unfortunately, because of the way that the game is set up, there's not actually a reporting system in the game. So you can't actually report people that you meet online that have horrible handles. But, you know, Nintendo, come on, you guys. Like, I know that, I mean, I could just kind of see, like, the boardroom at Nintendo of them being like, why would anybody do that? We don't have to, like... Why would anybody do that? We don't need to put a system in place.
No one would be that horrible.
That's a stupid thing. Why would anybody?
Little did they know.
That's right. The internet. That's who. Let's see. In other Switch news and other Nintendo Switch Sports news, apparently people have once again decided, this is like a throwback podcast. Again, it's like 5 years ago. People are breaking their TVs.
Hell yeah.
With throwing those Switch controllers, not putting on the wrist strap.
That's on you. Put the wrist strap on. There's no reason not to.
I've really conflicted about this because, like, I spent the entire dojos that we made for that, saying I'm not going to put the wrist strap on. But then I also was very, very careful not to just like stand up and whip my hand back and forth with loosely holding a controller in front of my television. Like I had a death grip on that controller. It was not leaving my hand.
It's a certain brand of gamer. I think it's the same brand of gamer that if you're the type of person that will accidentally throw your Wiimote when you're playing, you're the same person that will put on a VR headset and walk into a fucking wall. Because I always am like, I am this is a game and I'm in my living room.
Yeah.
I'm never like that immersed that I forget that there's like a couch. You know what I mean? Like it just weirds me out.
Yeah. There was a video that came of a streamer that was live streaming and just like whipped
He's just
the
like
controller,
backhanded his controller,
playing tennis at the TV, and then just like has this horrified look on his face, and eventually turns the live stream camera around to show just the shattered LCD TV.
God, I don't have that problem. I got a projector. I would just smash it into the wall and destroy that controller.
Well, the nice thing, I mean, like the VR headsets right now, like the Quest has the thing where you draw the safe zone, and then if you get to the edge, it's literally fades in the front-facing camera into your view, and the closer you get, the more it puts that view
so you
in to be like, you're about to run into something.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So don't use your wrist strap or I mean, don't, but if you break your TV, then like...
Or work on your fucking grip strength.
It's that too.
Don't be holding technology that you're flinging around with limp hands with like noodle fingers. Come on.
Or maybe when we make our little touch grass, one of the other things that we can make is like a big vertical trapeze net that you can put between you and the TV, so that if you whip it'll just
bounces
like, bounce right off of it.
Watch as I play these Wii Sports without the safety of a net.
Damn right. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Let's see. In other handheld news, the Steam Deck, apparently there was kind of just a report. This is, I think, just interesting. When the Steam Deck launched, it was able to play 399 games.
Yeah.
Like it was certified for 399 games. We are now up to like 1,289 fully verified games and 1,169 that are just playable.
Nice.
So yeah, that's.
I still really want a Steam Deck, but I'm so poor.
Yeah. There needs to be like a cheap version,
right?
For just I'm gonna play Elden Ring. I want to just play like.
I'm not trying
Monkey
to throw
Island.
hints or anything, but like patreon.com/
Well, don't
Forza
/ Amanda.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rage Select, but I was like, is that it?
Well, that is it. But
yeah. Then you market for Amanda.
For Amanda.
Yeah.
Like donate, but with the note.
Yeah.
For Amanda Steam Deck.
Yeah, it has to say Steam Deck, otherwise, just gonna use it for pizza.
Yeah. Maybe it's like maybe we could have if there is a patron, if you make your Patreon name like parentheses Amanda Steam Deck, and then I'll just be like, okay, I'm just gonna take that amount of donation. I'm gonna take that $5 a month and put it into the Amanda Steam Deck fund.
It's gonna be one person. It's like getting a Steam Deck on layaway and just paying it off $5 at a time.
Well, the thing is that even if we got the money to give you a Steam Deck now, we'd have to get on the waiting list and order it, right? And it'd be time, but yeah. Anyway, Steam Deck still. I'm still very happy with the Steam Deck because it's like, hey, it's kind of what you were talking about with Call of Duty. Like, hey, look, Valve did something. They did something new. They did something different, and apparently they did it very well. So
yeah, but also Valve should do. Valve should go back and just keep tapping the fucking portal well. God damn it. I want more of the same of that. Give me that. What the fuck?
You have to ask me twice. I mean, Aperture Desk Job should be the prologue,
right?
For a full 8-hour game.
That's just a little demo to get you kind of want more. Your little appetizer.
Here's a question. Here's a hypothetical question. Would, not all, but would there be a lot of gamers, do you think, that were mad if there was a Portal 3 and it didn't have either Chell or GLaDOS in it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so.
I thought that Aperture Desk Job showed that it's like
it's
you
not
guys got a lot of stuff with the right humor. It doesn't have to be GLaDOS, right?
What if it's not Cave Johnson either?
The thing is that if they bring Eric Wopal back, it's like that's the guy that wrote Cave Johnson and GLaDOS.
Yeah.
Like I expect him to be able to write other stuff.
I'd be fine with like just what was his name?
Wheatley, yeah.
Yeah. Like you know what I mean? You don't need much.
Well, he's in space with the space sphere.
Yeah.
And Skyrim, I think.
We can't do a space portal.
What if it was an anthology that was like all of the stories of the different people that got like their brains scooped out and digitized into the different spheres
of Portal.
So it's like
I would play that.
There's like an Indiana Jones level with the adventure sphere, and there's like a weird researcher that's like the space sphere, and then it turns out that the main thing is that every time they get turned into a sphere, then they go crazy, but there were actual brains in the spheres.
That makes the most sense of all.
Yeah.
And I want that game.
And then the last one what if the whole thing was like Wheatley telling you the story and so it was an unreliable narrator and then it like changed up levels as he like forgot something or remembered something and like but then it had like puzzle mechanics, kind of portal-y puzzle mechanics. I would play that game. Valve,
do it, Valve. My next email to Gabe is gonna be real specific.
You fucking cowards. Or just start over. I don't even give a shit. Like, you just make a whole other thing.
Yeah.
You know what would be really cool? Oh my God, you know what would be really cool? Is if there was a Portal 3 and the whole game was like Aperture Labs' competitor that was trying to break out of the market that Aperture Labs doesn't even know exists. Like Cave Johnson is just so up his own ass, he doesn't even know that they exist. And there's this whole other like they're trying to make their own AI that has its own problems. They're trying to make a portal gun, but it totally doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like the shitty Kmart version of Aperture Science.
I love this. Like Sam Rockwell's character in the Iron Man
Justin
movie.
Hammer of the Portal universe.
I want that. Gabe!
Come on! Look at our ideas! We're being wasted!
Dear Gabe, you fucking coward.
I'll fight you for it.
Meet me in the parking lot, Gabe.
I don't know. I'm pretty out of shape, but Gabe also doesn't seem like he's like...
not exactly an athlete. You know.
He's, right.
Sorry, Gabe.
Sorry. From there... let's talk about some other retro games because we've had the story that PlayStation is getting ready to basically convert, I think it's in June, over to their new thing. Yeah. And their new thing is going to have like a section of PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1 classic titles that can be downloaded and played, but we don't know what exact titles are going to be there, which is really important because if they've got a good selection, I feel like it would really offer something that you can't get on an Xbox or a PC even,
right? Or
even really the Switch, well outside of the Genesis and the N64 games. Mm-hmm. But so we got a leak of a few of the retro games that are here, and they're not blowing up. They're not blowing my boobs out.
Yeah.
Like Tekken 2, Ridge Racer 2, Mr. Driller, Worms World Party, and Worms Armageddon. These are, I feel like, games that probably were very easy to get the rights to say that you're going to be releasing.
Yeah.
I'm really more interested to see how many third-party games they're going to be able to get on there. Which I know some of these are third-party, but like, you know, I guess what? There's a lot of nostalgia for like Tekken and Ridge Racer. And
I played the fuck out of some Tekken games.
Worms, but like, I don't know, man. There's like a new Tekken. There's like Forza Horizon, and there's like Worms games out the yang that you can get for $1 anywhere. And I'm just never even sure about Mr. Driller. Mr. Driller.
Mr. Driller is what they used to call me in high school.
Oh, that was on. Oh, it's a puzzle game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Isn't that essentially Dig Dug?
I don't know. Looks like Dig Dug crossed with Puzzle Fighter.
Yeah.
And apparently it was on the Xbox on Live Arcade at one point. So
adorable Dig Dug.
So yeah, we also got the news from Sony that you will no, at least for the moment, until it launches, you will no longer be able to stack PlayStation Plus subscriptions. So like that feature has basically been disabled for the moment. So right now it's like a thing where if you bought a bunch of PlayStation Plus cards, you can just like keep redeeming them to add more months. Like a lot of people like to do that instead of signing up for charge on their credit card. It's like they'll shop around for a 12-month card and then they'll just get as many as they can and then just keep adding them. I think it's actually going to be really controversial because when they come back, PlayStation Plus is splitting into 3 tiers, right? What is currently PlayStation Plus is going to be PlayStation Essential, and then there's PlayStation Extra that has like the free games, and then like I forget the whole thing. It's something else, and then the big one is Premium at the end that has all of the stuff. The thing is that the way that the vouchers are going to be redeemed is weirdly different. You can see on this little graph. So like a 1-month PlayStation Plus voucher will get you 31 days of PlayStation Plus Essential, so the same thing. But it'll only get you 21 days of PS Plus Extra or 17 days of PS Plus Premium because those subscriptions are going to be more expensive.
Right.
So it's still 1-to-1. And the same is true of PlayStation Now vouchers. So it's kind of the same thing. 31 days of Plus Essential, 21 days of Extra, and 17 days of Premium. Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And apparently this is all going to kind of turn back on in June when the service launches. So hopefully we'll find out some more about this coming soon.
Yeah.
Let's see. Speaking of online stuff, we got the news that we're getting 3 new Meta headsets over the next couple of years. So apparently the big thing here is there's one called Project Cambria that's going to be like $800, which is, the current Quest is like $300.
Yeah.
And this is going to be specifically an augmented reality headset that is built for like office workers to be able to, like, it's going to show heads up stuff, but then it's going to have a pass-through camera that shows you like what's in front of you, with the idea that you can kind of keep it on and then kind of work in this virtual environment. But it's not going to have anywhere near the same refresh rate processing power that the Quest has because it's not made for playing games.
Right.
It's made for like spreadsheets and video conferences and shit like that. And then apparently next year there's going to be 2 different refreshes of both the Project Cambria headset and the Oculus Quest headset. So kind of the cheaper gamer one and then the other one. So I read an article, I don't think it's in here, where it said that like they've like dumped like many billions of dollars into this without seeing any real big return at this point.
This is a weird like pet project at this point. Like it just seems like some thing they desperately want to do. Yeah.
It's like Zuckerberg really wants this metaverse thing to happen. But what they're doing, I don't feel like is a good route to that.
Yeah.
Like smaller, lighter, cheaper, more powerful headsets, I feel like is the way to go. Because I think that even with the Quest, you still have that thing. You still have to fucking duct tape a cell phone to your head.
Yeah.
And you have to have it in a way that it blocks out all the surrounding light, right? It's kind of still a little hard on the eyes for extended periods of time. I've done the Wi-Fi syncing where you have your computer render stuff and then it kind of Netflix streams it to the headset and it works like okay. So I don't know if I still just don't know about this idea of just like, oh, everyone at the office is going to have a VR headset and then we're all going to have a virtual cartoon teleconference.
Yeah, that sounds a little Matrixy to me.
Or, Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, right, Ready Player One. Don't you want to live in that world?
No,
I do not.
Didn't even want to watch that world. Why would I want to live in it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. You don't want to live in the metaverse,
Correct.
Amanda. You don't want to work in the metaverse,
right?
Would you like to drink the metaverse?
Yes.
This is just a funsy thing.
I drink your metaverse.
So apparently Coke put out a it's called the
Pixel flavored
Coke Zero Sugar Bite, BYTE, which is I don't know if did you watch the Food Theory episode about the Coke Starlight?
No, but I had the Coke Starlight.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
How was it?
It tastes like cotton candy.
Like cotton candy?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the next thing from that same thing where apparently like the Coke Starlight also had like a mini game and an NFT and a Fortnite avatar and
that
all
makes
like,
sense because
bullshit.
Yeah.
So yeah, apparently you can now get this pixel flavored soda, which apparently I read some kind of like testimonials of people, I think it was like a Polygon office or whatever that tried it out. And it always seems to be like with these new Coke flavors where they're like, how's it taste? And they're like, it's weird and I don't want a whole one.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't really want to drink it again. The end.
Like the Mountain Dew Flaming Hot flavor.
Oh, yes.
Which I tried.
Did you?
Yeah, hell yeah, I did. You think I wouldn't?
Spicy, cold Mountain Dew?
You thought I would look at a soda that says Flaming Hot on it and not drink it?
I didn't realize it was just available at places that humans shopped. You'd have to like order it over the internet or something.
No, yeah, we went to like a Walgreens.
How was the spicy soda?
It wasn't spicy.
Oh.
Yeah, honestly, it was very sweet. Well, like I don't drink a lot of soda anymore. I've backed off on drinking soda, and so Mountain Dew in general is very sugary.
Oh yeah,
and so it was just sugar, and then like aftertaste, you would get like a of heat. Do you know what I mean?
Just kind of like in the back of your
yeah,
throat.
just a real quick like oh, they put a pepper in here. You know what I mean? Like there was no spice. It didn't burn my mouth. And because of that, it would be like, sure, if I like drink more, the more I drink, the more I think the spiciness would like build on itself because it wasn't really there.
Yeah.
But like it couldn't build.
What if it was a Mountain Dew, but also you coughed a lot?
Yeah, and so I just didn't finish it. I was like, this is like an unenjoyable experience for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to waste food, but I drank half of it and I poured the rest down the sink. I was like, John didn't even want it. John didn't even want to try it. Like he was like, nah, I'm not even curious.
Well, John's a picky eater, right? Like
he is, but like it's a sip of a soda.
Yeah.
And he was like, no.
I don't know. I'm not even really a big soda fan to begin with.
Yeah.
And so the idea that it's like, oh, we're trying something different. I'm like, I mean, if I have to, I'll drink like a Sprite. Like maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of like a Mexican Pepsi. Or like a Mexican Fanta from time to time when it's got like the full sugar in it.
Yeah, I'll do Mexican Coke all the time. Like not all the time, but like if I'm drinking a soda, 9 times out of 10, it's like a Mexican Coke or a Dr. Pepper because they have nothing else. Can I get a sweet tea? We don't have tea right now. Can I get a lemonade? No. Okay. Dr. Pepper in Texas, you get it anywhere.
Yeah. What was that? Like a what's that? Oh, what am I thinking of? Like a Mexican Sprite is really interesting.
Really?
You get like a Sprite with like actual sugar in it as opposed to.
I don't think I've had a Mexican Sprite.
Or maybe I'm just thinking of like. Maybe I'm just thinking
like,
of when I was a kid.
If it's in a glass bottle, it's automatically a Mexican soda.
I think I might just be thinking of what Sprite tasted like when I was like 9. And you could get it in like a
that
green
nostalgia
glass
Sprite hit
bottle.
Different, yeah.
It was just a little more sour, a little bit less sugary.
Yeah.
Never been a 7-Up guy. I don't like 7-Up. Anywho, speaking of pixels, so yeah, go get your pixel.
I'm probably gonna try that.
Pixel flavored soda.
Get that bite.
Yeah. If you do, you have to come back and tell us what it tastes like.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of pixels, we've getting some news about the new Forza Motorsport game. And this is. I had a hard time kind of understanding exactly what I was reading here for a little while. So there's a new Forza that's been in development for a while, and it's the Forza Motorsport as opposed to Horizon. So with Motorsport, it's like they're kind of trying to reboot that like branch of the Forza thing to be a little bit more simmy and a little bit less like arcadey, because it's like, oh, Horizon's the Funzo collectible, like drive all over the place thing, because that's the open world drive festival thing, whereas Forza Motorsport was more like Gran Turismo, where you're on tracks and you're racing specific racing tracks. So, but the big news here is that it appears that the coming Forza Motorsport is actually going to end up being cross-gen. So Forza's on the Xbox, but then it will be an Xbox Series X and Xbox One release that'll be playable on both, as opposed to, it's kind of this question we've been coming to of like when we're going to start moving the majority of games to like they're on the next gen systems and you can't play them on the old gen systems. The problem, of course, being that because of the supply chain, like it's still hard to get those next gen systems.
Yeah.
So if you've got people that are like, I'm more than willing to buy this, but like I can't, and so I want to play this new Forza game, but I can't because I literally cannot find one of these.
Right. You have to make it available if you want to make any money.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the kind of like the downside of this, I mean, I know that some people would be like, well, what does it matter, right? In fact, this was a Jalopnik article, which is like the Gawker car website.
Okay.
And somebody in the comments were like, well, what is, like, what does it matter? Like, if it's on both, it's like, these are all PC hardware. So it's just like, oh, you're just ratcheting down like the detail level and you can run on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anybody in the comments explain that like one of the big things with these new systems is the fact that they've got these ultra fast hard drives in them. And so if you develop games that are specifically built to stream assets from those drives as fast as they can load them, that makes things different than if you are just using old programming techniques for the last generation of systems, but then just making them go faster on the newer systems. Like, there are ways to program for these new systems that will create a game that is fundamentally incompatible with those old systems that can do things that you just can't do on the previous systems. Like on the PlayStation 5, they've literally showed, Mark Cerny had this huge tech talk thing that I was fascinated by, but everybody else thought was really boring, that showed that like the hard drive on the PS5 is so fast that they can literally stream the level assets to your television in real time as you move the camera. So like they no longer have to be loaded from the hard drive into memory and then streamed from memory onto your screen. They can literally bypass the entire preloading part and just stream level assets directly from the hard drive right onto your screen as you hit the thumbstick to turn, that it loads that fast.
Yeah.
Which means that instead of having to deal with the 16 gigabytes of RAM, you can basically use the entire 800 gig hard drive as like a RAM source and skip over that. Anyway, all this stuff is to say that like this does mean that you can't use the very latest of interesting kind of cutting edge programming stuff for this if it has to be able to run on an Xbox One.
Yeah. It's limiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which I think a lot of it is going to be now that Unreal Engine 5 is out, that Unreal Engine 5 is going to be better at doing a lot of those things. And so you might start seeing this stuff happen soon. You might start seeing stuff that's only available.
We're getting to that time, right? Like even with the shortage for everything, like they've been out for a
couple years.
Yeah, just enough time that like that transition needs to start happening.
Yeah. I think what it really depends on is I don't really know, and they don't really provide these all the time, but it's like how many units are sold. Like if you get to a point where it's like, the new games are $70 and the developers are willing to do them specifically for these systems because they know that they can make enough money that they're not going to go out of business by selling on a limited hardware platform.
Right.
That's really the big question. Let's see. In other next-gen news, we found that the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order this was a leak, is most likely going to be out in 2023. And speaking of what we were just talking about, is most likely going to be next gen only. So only on the latest, the PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. Which is interesting because this is one of those ones where I'm like, I would expect a Star Wars game to go as wide as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Whenever I do the tags for Rage Select, it's like, I always hate it when I have to do it for a game that's like PC, personal computer, Xbox, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5, PS5, PS4, Switch, Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Like, I would think that for Star Wars that they would still want to keep that stuff as wide as possible, but then who knows? Maybe they know something that we don't about, like what the Ubisoft game is, or Amy Hennig's new game, or any of those, or that Quantic Dream game, because there's like 4 or 5 new Star Wars games in development right now. So
can't get away from Star Wars.
That's true. And he can't get away from Star Wars now either, because last week was May the 4th, and so there's a bunch of different things that happened that are Star Wars related.
Yeah.
One of them was that you can, Microsoft is running a thing in conjunction with Lego where you can win a bunch of Xbox Series S's that are like Lego Star Wars themed. So each one of them has like a specific color scheme.
Yeah.
They've got a little decal of a specific character, and they've got kind of a little logo on the front that's Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's kind of neat.
I think these are all kind of weirdly ugly, but like
the only one I like is Boba Fett.
This one, the Boba Fett one?
Yeah. Well, his color scheme's fantastic.
I kind of like the Stormtrooper one that's just kind of white.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of just like the poop brown for Chewbacca.
Yeah.
The,
or the green,
boring tan of Rey.
Yeah.
Like Luke is kind of cool, right? Like it's like a gray with like some green on it for his lightsaber. That's neat. But like some of these are just like, eh.
Yeah. Apparently, if you want to win one of these, you have to follow the Xbox account and then retweet the promotional thing. But you can enter until May 31st. So
there's still time.
Plenty of time. Plenty of time. We also got some new content for the Lego Star Wars game, which apparently has been very well received.
Oh my God. My brother would not stop texting me about it.
DLC character pack. So we got a Bad Batch character pack, which I think is pretty cool that they're repping those guys. So it's all of the different troopers from the Bad Batch. And then I think this Rogue One might have already been out. I don't remember, with Jyn Erso and the one guy and the droid. I know the Mandalorian season 1 pack was out that has the Grogu and the Gary Busey guy. And then but they did put out a Mandalorian season 2 pack that has Ahsoka Tano and oh God, I don't remember all the different people.
Name them all to me now, Jeff.
I can tell you. I should have had it
from memory, from knowing, from being a Star Wars fan.
No, I don't. I'm not that big of a Star Wars fan. Boba Fett, Bo-Katan, Fennec Shand, and Moff Gideon. I did know Moff Gideon because that's Gus from Breaking Bad. Yes. He's in everything right now. And then they already had the
Esposito.
Solo one. That one was already out when they launched it. So I think they launched the two, the Bad Batch and the Mandalorian season 2, for May the 4th. Which, if you're into that sort of thing, apparently like this new Lego Star Wars has just been very well received.
Yeah,
like everybody loves it, and it's just kind of a nice, fun little Lego game.
Yeah,
it's just a real shame that I'm not a big fan of Lego games.
Yeah. It's a real shame that I'm an adult.
Yeah,
and I want to play grown-up games
like Sifu. We actually got this week was I talked about it last week, but they finally they updated their first batch of content for Sifu, where they put in a difficulty slider, which was the big first thing.
Yeah,
where there's an easier mode that lets the character has more health, the enemies are less aggressive, the windows for parrying and things are like wider open.
Yeah,
you can kill, and also the aging mechanic has been changed a little bit, and then there's like a hard mode where the enemies are all just like fucking crazy all the time and then smack you around. This update also added some costumes into it. I actually like the fact that the hard mode added some new boss moves in, like to even make the game that much harder.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, which I'm glad, because they've got like a whole roadmap for like 4 different quarters of character updates for Sifu, or for different updates to Sifu. So, yep. We got a launch trailer for Trek to Yomi.
Yeah.
Which is was pretty good. The launch trailer is pretty good. I haven't played the game yet. We'll be doing that for tomorrow's video.
Is that on Game Pass?
Yes, it is on Game Pass on the PC and the Xbox. I'm glad this was a real big like violence montage trailer because last time
it looked a little disappointing.
Yeah, well, it was just like watching somebody play the game, and it was very just kind of like you really needed some like 40-year-old white guys making dick jokes over it. Like
that's all I ever need.
Also, I noticed this. Like I didn't notice this before, but there's like some supernatural stuff in this like launch trailer.
It's cool.
So we'll find out.
I'm into it.
Yep. Let's see. We got some more features of Sniper Elite 5, which comes out at the end of this month, by the way, everybody.
Ooh, nice. Something to look forward to.
Yep. Apparently you can co-op the campaign. There's an invasion mechanic a la Dark Souls in this game. I did not realize that, like where other people can come into your game as like a sniper. There's improved aiming and traversal, and this whole thing just looks like they're doing good stuff with Sniper Elite.
Look good.
Also the kill cam has been enhanced and updated, so which is pretty hot. And also just like the footage of this is nice and like crisp and detailed and good looking. And also there's apparently a full multiplayer mode. I don't know if the previous ones had that.
God, I don't feel like I would want to play a multiplayer mode on this.
Oh, snipers. Isn't that your favorite part of online shooters?
Kill me.
So, yeah, Sniper Elite 5, 26th. We got a release date trailer for Red Out 2. I know that Red Out isn't exactly something that that we've focused on in this podcast, but I do love me a science fiction racing game.
Now this is pod racing.
This is like Wipeout XL, or like F-Zero on the Nintendo. Because I'm not the biggest fan in the world of regular racing, but for some reason, if you make it like it's now at 300 miles per hour and you're driving a pod racer, and I'm like, man,
100% doing that. Neon lights, get me in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which looks
it looks cool. It also looks like I would get a headache after like 25 minutes of it.
More of a headache than looking at the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 logo.
I don't know if anything will give me more of a headache than that logo.
Yeah. That's also coming out May 26th. So, boom.
Oh, shit. You have to decide between the sniper and the
car racing?
Sci-fi racing and pod racing?
I know which one I'm going to choose.
I know which one you're going to choose, too.
Speaking of things to choose, I chose a news story.
Just for me?
Just for you.
Hell yeah.
It was some footage from the new AEW Fight Forever game that Ukes is making.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw this. There was
I have seen it.
Chris Statlander, and then there was another video that was like another lady.
Nyla Rose, yeah.
Yeah. I was interested to know kind of like what you thought about this.
I've talked to John about it because I was like, I don't love the way they look. And he's like, well, they're not going for like WWE 2K20 to whatever, like realism. They want like a hint of cartoony.
Yeah.
And I was like, it needs to be more cartoony or less cartoony.
Yeah.
It's too in between and it just looks like bad to me. And also when you see and you know, this is just like reveal footage and it's not a complete game or anything.
Right.
But when you see Chris Statlander do whatever her move is.
Yeah. Is that the one where she like flips that lady upside down and like
it
spreads her legs out and then like opens her mouth and it's like, what's happening?
Yeah, it's like a power bomb thing, like a pile driver. I don't know. But
it looks very strange.
It is, but it looks really oddly like it's like a staccato. Like it's not a smooth motion. It's very like
it's like pose to pose. It doesn't have like smoothing or like so easing.
It's very it's just kind of ugly to me.
Yeah.
I'm sure if it's a good wrestling game, it's a good wrestling game, and you can tell it's definitely not finished wherever they're at with it. But I'm excited for it. I really like AEW. I really the people working on it are people that I trust. So
you mean Ukes?
No, well, yes, but like
or just the AEW brand.
The AEW like employees that are a part of it are people that like really give a shit about making a good game.
Yeah.
So even if it's like, well, it's not as pretty as we want it to look, they're gonna put gameplay over everything because they know what good game they want.
Right. And yeah, I mean, that's likely important, or at least to, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, there's so many good wrestling games that are just like shitty. We've played them that are like real shitty. Like, who is that? That's just like a weird clip art looking wrestle guy.
Right.
So you can make a good game that's ugly. That's fine.
Yeah. The main thing is what I'm really hoping, like, mostly for you and John and like wrestling fans in general, is that Ukes, after leaving the WWE contract, is like, oh, fucking finally we can do what we've wanted to do if we weren't constrained by having to crank one of these things out every 12 months without a break, like without even a second studio to go back and forth with, just like every year, like clockwork. And then like, so the first thing you've got to do is update the way everybody looks and put in new characters, and there's no time to like look at the systems, right?
Yeah.
Because I really wish that there was something that was like the new one that John and I played, the new WWE game.
Yeah.
Was kind of, I think, going in that direction, but it was still a little technical. Like, I'd like something that was like simple, but not like super simple, not like the games like what was the one that was all parodies of characters that you and I played. Like something that maybe had a little bit more mechanical finesse than some of those indie games that they're making, but was kind of at that same level that just felt a little better to play. Like, I don't know. So
that's kind of what I'm hoping for here. It's just they were just really hyped about this reveal, and I'm like, this is all right. You know, like it's a C plus.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, are we gonna get it? Yes. Are we gonna play it? Yes. Is it something I'm like dying for right now?
They said it's coming to PC and some consoles, and that they've got
confirmed wrestlers. Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, Hikaru Shida, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, Thunder Rosa, and the Young Bucks. I mean, those are like most of their champions. It's like, the Young Bucks. You mean the guys that are the EVPs of the company that like actually put money into the company? Yeah, of course they're.
If anybody.
Right? Like if they were like, I'm not going to be in the video game, and be like, then why are you making a video game, dude?
I think it'd be really interesting. Is I like the story of AEW is like, after all the years of kind of shitty supremacy of the WWE, that it seems like people really like it, and that they seem like they even took the developer that's been chained to this franchise. And just like,
to be like, hey, dude. Well, yeah, I mean the thing that made AEW popular is the idea that WWE had everyone set on the idea that everything had to be a certain way. Yeah. And that the AEW was like, what if it wasn't?
Right.
And so to have the game developer that was like, we are trapped in this, everything has to be a certain way because WWE said so. And then they go to AEW and AEW goes, what if it wasn't?
Right.
Like, and that just seems to be like, if you just ask that question, it opens the possibilities for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Speaking of game development, we found out that apparently Final Fantasy 16, that's right, we're all the way back to Square Enix, is in the final stages of development, which is kind of interesting, considering how long we've known about it. We've known about it for a couple of years. We've only seen like one trailer for it, like over all that time, and the idea that it's close to being finished, or I don't know, like I don't know. There is this one quote from the director or the producer, Naoki Yoshida, who was in this interview, said, for those who have grown up and realized that reality isn't kind to you and have drifted away from Final Fantasy, we hope that Final Fantasy 16 will be a game that can bring back the passion you once had with the series. I feel like he might have been talking directly to me because I like... I hate Final Fantasy 15, and Final Fantasy 14 is MMO, and I liked Final Fantasy 13, but it was like a decade ago that came out. So,
and has reality been kind to you, Jeff?
No.
I'm glad you asked.
Oh, yeah. 0 stars. Would not come here again. So give me to the TVA. I want to go to one of the other ones. Overthrow Kang and go somewhere else. So, yeah. But, hey, the fact that Final Fantasy 16 we might be seeing it within like but then the question is really like, what does that mean, right? Does that mean that like, who knows what the workflow on this is? Like, does it mean that they're mostly done and that they now have a year worth of like asset development and polishing that has to be done?
Yeah.
Or does that mean it's going to be out by Christmas? Like,
yeah, I guess that's a good question.
Who knows?
Yeah.
What is going to be out by Christmas? Well, summer actually.
Yeah, way earlier than Christmas.
Is Stray, which is that crazy game about a cat in a like robot post-apocalypse world that's wandering around doing all kinds of cat stuff.
Yeah.
With them robots. I did appreciate the fact that like they said, what did they say? You can be stealthy, nimble, silly, and sometimes as annoying as possible.
Only sometimes?
So I like the idea of a robot that doesn't know how to do anything but like put a cup on a table, and then a cat that just keeps knocking the cup off the table, and then the robot picks it up.
The robot's like, please. That's all my purpose.
Yeah. I don't know. The cat in this game looks really good.
It does look really
good.
I kind of definitely want to play this game.
Yep.
But if this cat fucking dies at the end, I will hunt down every developer and I will hurt them in a way that they haven't even thought of yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Don't hurt the cat.
I'm more of a dog man personally, but
don't hurt a dog either.
That's true.
Look, it's don't hurt animals.
Okay, so you like dogs, you like cats.
Yeah. I'm really obsessed with frogs recently.
How do you feel about Clippy?
I have a thing about this.
Oh yeah.
I have a biblically accurate tattoo of a biblically accurate angel. And then I follow a different tattoo artist who's like, people just really seem to be into biblically accurate angels. And somebody made a Clippy, but he's biblically accurate angel. So it's like just instead of wings, it's just paper clips and like a circle and then a bunch of eyes all the way around. And I was like, no, I should have gotten the Clippy biblically accurate angel. I can't do two biblically accurate angels, one a normal one and the other one Clippy.
Yeah.
But I love Clippy. So stupid.
There is no release date for this, but apparently they've added like into Halo Infinite, there is a Clippy nameplate that you could put a Clippy icon.
Clippy?
And then not just that, but there's also a little Clippy ornament that you could hang from the side of your gun in Halo.
It looks like you're trying to shoot somebody. Would you like some help?
Yeah.
I love that.
It's pretty cool. No word yet on how you actually get it.
Would you play a Clippy video game?
No, I hate Clippy.
You hate Clippy?
Yeah, I was too old by the time that Clippy was released, and I had to use Office for my job, and so I would open up Word, and
it looks like you're trying to start a...
You fucking get out of here!
I know what I'm doing, Clippy. I know more than you.
It looks like you're trying to write a death threat to Blockbuster Video for your late fines. Would you like help with that? Like, I've done this before, Clippy. Yeah. Last week with Hollywood Video, okay?
And you asked me then.
And I said, no, thank you. So now you can fuck off. This is pretty cool looking, though. Little
yeah, it's that's a fun little nostalgia trip, I think.
I feel like you either love Clippy or hate Clippy.
Yeah, I think, well, I hate Clippy, but my hatred is... now
Morphed.
Love. Does that make sense? Like, it's just, I love to hate Clippy. I think he's hilarious.
Sure. Let's see. In other news, we're kind of down to the end of stuff here, but this is kind of cool. I found this the other day. This is off of a PC Gamer article, which is kind of a really nifty thing. This is a former Rockstar artist called Mark. I really don't know how to say your last name, Mark.
Cisluna,
who basically has created all these like retro comic books as if like some video games were like old comic books. Like it starts with all these Crash ones. They're like kind of like DuckTales, like the old DuckTales.
Yeah,
ones.
I mean, honestly, they're kind of like what the older Sonic the Hedgehog comics were.
Yeah, there's one for Cuphead that's really good. It looks just just looks like a comic that would have existed.
It does.
But like there's this Dino Crisis one that's like really cool.
Oh, I love that.
Ghost of Tsushima, the God of War one I like where it's just Kratos screaming boy. There's just in the middle of all these video games there's one for Joker.
Do not like.
Okay.
But the rest is cool.
There's a Metal Gear Solid one that's kind of like this is like a Evil Tales or Tales from the Crypt almost, right? With the different little characters.
Right. Yeah.
There's RE2, RE3, RE8, RE4 that all have a pretty good like art style.
I know so many people that would love this.
The Last of Us, there's some good Last of Us ones. So, and then this one, which is kind of like this Uncharted one that's very like, I don't know, it's like very painted.
Yeah, but it almost looks like the Hardy.
Yeah. Like a pulp.
Yeah, like a Nancy Drew book, you know.
And they did a really good job of like distressing them and making them look like they're all crappy and beat up.
Yeah.
So
like you got them in a garage sale.
Yeah. And this is just that markcisluna.com. It's SCICLUNA.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't think you can actually like buy prints of these or anything.
You actually might be able to. He has his own.
Oh, he has a Redbubble.
He has an art shop. Yeah,
Redbubble store. So yeah, there you go. You can go buy them.
A lot of them are available.
They're $30 a piece, though. I do like though that he's just got the Kratos head sticker that says "boy" for $1.50.
Hell yeah, I would put that on. I love it. Oh my god, he has a cover for The Thing versus Alien, like the Kurt Russell. Yeah.
Oh.
We're looking at the same thing. I'm just looking at my phone.
Oh, okay.
That's cool as fuck.
Oh,
that's MacReady.
MacReady versus
fighting aliens from Alien.
Xenomorphs. Chainsaw Psycho. Yeah, these are all really good. What's this one? This is like.
Oh, I love it. Oh God.
It says, "I'm sorry, Father. Don't be sorry. Be better."
Oh,
Kratos.
Nice.
Yeah, these are really cool. I mean, they're obviously pricey because
Redbubble. Well, his art is great, but also Redbubble is always super expensive when you buy from Redbubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Anyway, yeah, pretty cool. Other things that are cool, I got a bunch of Elden Ring stuff because that's where the fun stuff is coming from right now.
Oh, nice.
So first off was this guy. I need to make sure that I attribute everybody. This is from Rudism, Rudeism, who on he took a Fisher Price makes it's a little baby toy that's like game controller.
Yeah.
And then when you press the buttons, it says like when you press like the A button is a little green button, and when you press it, it goes green, and then it says blue. And so he took this controller and literally hollowed it out and then like put in actual Xbox controller guts in an Arduino and made it work. And then he shows it off by playing Elden Ring. But the thing is that it still does all the talking.
Oh, my God.
And the lights and stuff light up. But it's still
trying to beat green.
It still works. The funny thing is it only has one analog stick. But on the right side, it's got a switch.
Mm-hmm.
And so he literally made that switch to switch that stick between the right and left analog stick.
Oh, that's smart.
And then when he switches it to the right, he also, the face buttons, some of these buttons become start and select buttons because they don't have those on here. But literally, yeah, I don't have the sound on right now, but when you listen to it, it's like...
It's so cute. It's got a little face.
It makes all these dumb noises that it's like, yeah, blue, whatever you're running around doing stuff.
That's hilarious.
It's pretty good. He said the hardest part was fitting all the wires.
And yeah, because it's very small. You can tell his hands are very big.
Yeah, shoving all the wires back in. And then, like, basically, he's just on his Twitter been playing different games with this Fisher Price controller.
That's so funny.
And taking pictures of it.
I love that. The little stupid happy face, just really enjoying the little controller, just living his best life.
Do you think they should?
I would buy it.
You would buy it?
100%. 100%. I want one like that for the Switch instead of like a pro game controller, so that when I beat people's ass in Smash Brothers, it's with this adorable fucking blue, green, like just having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had that. So that was our first Elden Ring. We also had a video that was on TikTok where somebody literally, it's harder to tell because we don't have the audio for it, but it's somebody doing like Lord of the Rings cosplay of like a guy dressed like Frodo and a guy dressed like Sam, kind of like reenacting Lord of the Rings, but in Elden Ring.
That's
with a variety of different
kind
things.
of adorable.
Which is pretty funny. It's not, the thing is that I thought it was going to be longer. It ended up just being like,
short little clip,
TikTok. But so yeah, pretty good though.
Yeah,
the effect is much magnified when they put the Lord of the Rings music over it.
Obviously, yeah.
Also, people are much more familiar with each individual scene of what you're seeing here than I am. So, and last but not least, somebody's made a Darth Vader skin.
Oh, God.
For Elden Ring. And then if you combine that with the lightsaber mod that came out, you can play your own Elden Ring as a Darth Vader.
Holy shit, just a Darth Vader tearing up.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of amazing, to be honest.
There was somebody made a cut scene. Somebody I think this particular YouTube channel is making a thing where they're just kind of doing Darth Vader in a variety of the different cutscenes. And so they had the fight with Godric the Grafted, but with the character being Darth Vader. This person, you could tell from their health bars, is doing this on New Game like +3 or something, because no one who is actually at this point in the game would have a health bar that big or be ripping Godric's health bar apart so fast with this. But
I'm sorry, Darth Vader wouldn't be. Come on.
I wish that they kind of went a little bit further and they did all the they got some like force powers and stuff in there.
Oh my God,
like,
can you imagine?
Throw the lightsaber. But yep, that's it, and that's it.
Yay!
That was it.
Huzzah!
One podcast, everybody. I told you there wasn't going to be that much. I don't even think there was any Activision Blizzard in the second half. Was there?
Now there is.
Now there is.
I have one more thing to mention about Activision.
Well, we
Blizzard.
said 90% less. So,
that's fair.
Yeah. MailerRageSite.com is something I'm used to saying, even though I haven't read a question in a year. They're there if I ever manage to get my news percolation under control. What would you? Okay, here's the thing. We're getting ready to stop. Amanda, I want your honest opinion.
Yes.
What news stories were your least favorite news stories of this?
Anything with NFTs.
Anything with NFTs.
Yeah.
Even when it's making fun of or being mad at NFTs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because every NFT news story has to have a slight explanation
of what they are,
and it's just like, I'm so tired of hearing about the blockchain.
Yeah. The blockchain. Yeah. I don't know if we're going to have more soda stories. I don't know how many soda stories we need to have.
We should have more sodas before. How about no soda stories unless we have the soda in hand and can drink it and
you know what?
Give a taste test at the same time.
Between you and everybody else, I'm just going to like create a spreadsheet to be like, guys, what do you want? All right. Like I'll go to the store and get some goldfish crackers.
Jeff, it's so disappointing that you don't have a mini fridge in here just in case.
Dude, if I had gotten that Xbox mini fridge, it would have been in here. But they were sold out. And if we're going to put a mini fridge in this room, it's going to look like a game console so that I get drunk and don't know the difference between the two and try to open the game console that I'm watching Netflix on to get a beer out of it and then get really mad and throw it on the ground and then everything is ruined. Next week, there'll be another podcast. Bye.